Everybody, I'm on the line with the prestigious one, Joe Hendry, right now, Ring of Honor star. Uh, what are you doing? What with your time at home right now? I mean, everybody's kind of finding their way, while you're out of the ring, off the road. It's obvious that you're providing entertainment with a lot of your videos on social media. But what else are you kind of doing to keep your mind at ease, keep yourself busy?
Somehow I've made myself busier when I'm not working than when I am. I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I've always got to be doing projects. But I guess the main thing just now is I'm doing kind of as much content as I can to, just keep things going, just give people a bit of a laugh during this time. I'm doing a lot of really enjoying the work I'm doing with Ring of Honor. We're working on a new YouTube series, which is like a kind of challenges game show almost, where it's like last week we had me versus the bouncers in a beer drinking contest, which I don't think it's going to be any surprise when I give you a little spoiler that didn't go so well for me. But I've just been enjoying things like that, walking the dog a lot. He's absolutely loving it because I'm at home all the time. But I guess one of the great things is because, Ring of Honor are really looking after everybody. And we're continuing to get paid as normal, so it means that I'm not having to stress about where the next meal's coming from. I can really just focus on on just providing some entertainment and staying healthy, and getting exercise and just being ready and safe. So I feel very privileged.
I was going to bring that up. The show is still called Joe Versus. It's on YouTube. I was ready to ask you or mention I was surprised that we even did the call because, a beer drinking contest against the bouncers is pretty intense. But as we saw at the end of it, you you tricked them a little bit.
I almost did. I almost got away with it. So part of the show is I can cheat if I'm starting to doubt my ability to complete the competition. So I did try to. I tried a few different tactics. You need to check out the episode. Brian Malonis, he caught me out, whereas Beer City Bruiser was willing to trust me a little bit, and I tried to take advantage of that, but Brian overruled him, and so I lost the first episode, unfortunately.
And I thought one good takeaway from that was the phrase "become a better cheater" or "become more talented." I think that's a great wrestling motto if you were to adopt that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm maxing out the talent thing, and it still didn't work for me. So, gonna have to just become a better cheater, I think.
So, you're not only missing wrestling matches right now, but you're always on the road with Ring of Honor doing like the hospital visits, personal appearances. Can you kind of talk about that side of things where, it seems like you take a lot of pride in doing those things and, not only you're missing out on that, but, these kids don't have that to look forward to either. So what can you do to kind of not replace it, but, still provide that moment, like feel good moment?
Well, it's something that we have discussed internally. Just basically how can we still do our bit, but in a way that's kind of helpful, because right now, obviously, like first responders are going to have with the whole kind of coronavirus situation. Health services are really kind of maxed out and doing their best to cope with these things, and so I think we will definitely. We've had discussions about, can we do kind of Skype calls and stuff like that, for wrestling fans and kids who maybe need to, just have their day brightened. But I think we just kind of wanted to give the health services some space to, deal with the kind of the task ahead and the emergencies at hand. And then, I believe, as we've discussed, we will reach out and try to set up some of these programs remotely, because it was, hands down the most rewarding part of my job, going to the hospitals, but also we went to see some kind of youth programs, and we just got to like join in, like just seeing what kind of activities, like after school activities they had. Like we would talk to them about kind of goal achievement, and it was extremely, extremely rewarding. And for sure, I do miss that aspect of the job, for sure.
Now, you seem very much like a guy that you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on. I saw you put out a comment last week, I believe, where you were like, okay, Tiger King, McDonald's, what else are you guys into? So what else are you kind of paying attention to right now as far as like the parody game or personal interests? Because you know all of these videos that you're putting out are very timely, they're very funny, and they seem to resonate with people.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've been working so hard on them. I think one of the difficulties though is it's like when you're a workaholic, like I enjoy working, so I just make content all day, every day, and it's kind of it's I'm not the kind of easiest person to live with for that reason. I can be very much married to my work, but it is a passion of mine to entertain other people, and but the difficulty is though when I'm really just like making content all the time, if I don't have time to kind of just watch things, see what other people are watching, just relax a little bit and say, oh, what's this on Netflix or whatever, then that's when I can become sort of out of touch of what's going on. So it actually kind of forces me to relax every now and then, because I watched Tiger King with my girlfriend when we were just chilling out, and if I hadn't watched that, I wouldn't have done the video. So it's like it's almost like a self-regulating process where it's forcing me to relax a little bit more.
If I can suggest a few other ones, I was trying to think of like what is timely right now, and I came up with TikTok dancing, Michael Jordan, and Animal Crossing. Like
Yeah, Animal
everybody's talking
Crossing.
about it.
Yeah, and Animal Crossing has it's came up a lot. I put up that tweet, and I think that was the most popular reply.
Mhm.
So I might have to look into that.
You have a background in music, but did you ever think that you'd be spending so much time in wrestling specifically, like working on choreography, creating content like this? Or is it not that much of a departure because, your approach is similar where, you know, you're writing like a hook or you're like trying to, here's the end result of the match. Like, how do I get there? Here's what I want out of the song. How do I get there? Like,
Yeah. I think I didn't. I had no idea that it would translate so much, but really, like, I just wouldn't be where I am in wrestling if I didn't have the parodies. It goes hand in hand, and I almost feel like I used to be of the opinion that like, oh, I wish I'd got into wrestling sooner. I would have ascended quicker and that. But I actually don't agree with that now. I think that I came into wrestling. It was in 2013. I was just about to turn 25 when I started training, and but I came in with a little bit of life experience and 10 years of being a failed musician. So no one can portray a failed musician better than me. Because I've been it for 10 years. So, but what was great was I busted my ass so bad to try and kind of get somewhere with music, but it was never my main passion. My main passion was wrestling. I just didn't think it was possible. And then I just one day I was like, you know what, life's too short. I have to go for this, or I'm gonna regret it. So it was my New Year's resolution going into 2013, and I was like, right, I'm doing it. This is it. I had a horrible 2012, and I was like, New Year's Eve, I was like, I'm not going to celebrate. There's nothing to celebrate about this year. But I tell you what, I'm going to do. I'm going to plot for next year, and I went in with no expectations. I used to have grand expectations, and all I said was, I'm just going to work my ass off and see where this takes me. But I did have this long-term thing in the back of my head, like I want to be the world champion. That's the kind of long-term goal. But yeah, a lot of the skills carried over for sure. I learned so much about entertainment in general from learning wrestling. And then learning wrestling, it kind of opened my eyes a little bit on, like you were saying about hooks and choruses. And it's like, because to be honest with you, a good song is kind of like a good match, and it's like the same principles apply. It's like a good film or a good TV show. A lot of entertainment, there's a lot of parallels between like, wrestling and what comedians go through as well. So it's like I think there's a lot of parallels, and this is what I tell my students. A lot of the time, it's not. For some people, it will be just the wrestling that gets you over, but for a lot of people who have put a lot of time into character, a lot of the time it's the things outside of wrestling that differentiate you from the competition.
I think that argument is always going to be there because it might not be directly related, but there's a lot of people when it comes to the Attitude Era, they're like, okay, well, here's why it was successful. And the wrestling, like the in ring matches themselves weren't you know, maybe weren't presented like as good of quality as they are now, but you know, the angles, the promos, like that, like those were the things that, you know, people were hooked on. And I think now that, you know, not that there's a less of a focus on the wrestling, but I feel like especially Ring of Honor and WWE are letting people be the character more than they have in the past few years, and you're really starting to see like unique opportunities, and people are starting to, you know, find their own reasons to like different characters because you're getting more of, you're getting a little bit more of a safety net and
I,
creative opportunity.
I think that, in today's day and age, niche is king. And wrestling, everything's so meta now. And wrestling kind of went through that same phase where, for a while there, it was like, invisible grenades and stuff like that. It just got to a point where I couldn't identify with that stuff, And I think, like, it almost goes so far that it gets pushed past the point, and then you have to kind of bring it back again. It kind of goes in cycles and phases. And actually, I think that professional wrestling as an industry was probably due a bit of a reset in the way that you're speaking about, having a bit more emphasis on characters and stuff like that, which is really cool because, like, for example, like you were saying, Ring of Honor have been allowing, like myself and Dalton to show a lot of kind of character elements. And, even someone like, so for example, like Josh Woods, who, before was, presented as just this kind of, this shooter, this badass, and he is a badass. But now we're getting to see like these funny aspects of his personality, and that's the thing that then endears him more to the fans, so they can then get into his wrestling. I think now it's. I'm glad that like the industry, it seems to be there's more of a kind of total package approach, and I think the coronavirus is going to bring that even more to the forefront. Like I say with my students, we do all our stuff online now because obviously I can't see them. But what we're doing is I'm getting them working on promos every week and sending them in and refining them. And like the other day, I did a pre-production seminar on how to film promos well. So now they've all got, like, I don't know if you can see it behind me, but I've got like one of these kind of light boxes off eBay, just one of those. Having one of those in front of, but like beside the camera with light on you while you're speaking, it makes an incredible difference. You just having like, a little attachable mic to your phone, like these little things. Like, I think now this is forcing, there will be people who will sit back and do nothing and will regret it. But there will be people who really use this opportunity to create something new and discover new parts about themselves and their character, and they will use this time and get more over because of it. And I just had that attitude. Like, to be honest with you, I had a conversation recently. I was doing Grado's podcast, and it's Grado and this guy Rab Florence, who is a BBC TV personality. So two pretty famous guys in Scotland. We're having a conversation, and he's saying, "I remember I first met you," and he said it was about the time you went viral, and he was kind of just saying that as a passing comment. But in my head, this filter stopped that comment, and I thought, oh man. In my mind, I was like, to the public perception, I haven't done anything like super viral since 2016, 2017. And I'm like, I'm signed to a major company. I need to prove I can do this again. So that's one of the reasons why I thought, you know what, I can do this again. And now, like I say, I've just done the Oasis McDonald's one, and it got 1.56 million hits in 48 hours. So now it's a whole other level, and I'm like, this is what the fans wanted from me, and I should have been, giving it to them all along. Like, it's very difficult to do in a large company because, we've got kind of copyright issues to worry about. That, look, I know I can't get these kind of numbers unless I'm doing like these topical parodies, but I should probably be recording, like songs and kind of tying it into what I'm doing. And, I think management have been keen for me to do that, and I'm keen to do that. And, because I think the entrance song worked really well, but I found it's one of these things that's so hard to like force yourself to come up with these things. But now, like, the frame of mind I'm in, I'm just churning these out. And I'm like, I'm just itching to get back because I just feel ready to go. I'm hungry. I want to win championships. I want to get to the top of the card. I'm never going to be satisfied being, anything but the top. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be putting in the work ethic to reflect that. I'm hungry to get back.
Now, would you say that you're spending, because you have the Wave Your Hand song, like that's been a constant, but uh, compared to like some of the internet, like for us international work, but
Mhm.
you would have like a different parody, like Blue for Drew McIntyre, different stuff like that. Are you finding that you're trying to use this downtime to come up with new entrance videos that maybe aren't a straight parody, or are you just trying to figure out what you can use in Ring of Honor?
I think the difficulty we've got is that basically I can't, you know, I like it's a great area with copyright. So, for example, technically it's like there's parody law, but parody law it's a very great area, and I'm not, you know, the last thing I would want to do would be to create any issues for the company.
Mhm.
So I need to think of a way to use my music that is original material, and I've done it before in the past, like I say with the Wave Your Hands video. But is there another way that I could potentially use music? Can I do videos that are maybe social media only? That sort of thing. There are options to it, but I think I need to. I would like to utilize my music more moving forward. I'm excited for the challenge. Like, at the end of the day, it's just like you just you know wrestling's all about star power, and I'm just hungry as hell to just get myself as over as possible, and I'm just working my. I'm going to town on these entrances, man. Like, I can't tell you how hard I'm working on these right now. But I've never been more excited to be in the business. I know it's weird with the situation that we're in, but I've never been. I don't know what's happened to me, but I just feel like I think when you're a wrestler, you'll have these moments where you're like, because wrestlers are like we're emotional beings. There's the highest highs and the lowest lows, and sometimes you maybe like somebody's doubting their abilities, or oh no, this show didn't go exactly to plan or whatever. But see, when you hit that stride where you're just like, for a fact, 100% that when I press the upload button, this thing is just going to go nuclear online. You know what I mean? And the hits are going to come rolling in. If you walk out through that curtain, you're just going to deliver. The crowd's going to go crazy. It's like, if you go in with that confidence, it translates to the audience. And I just these like when you're just in the zone, when you're in like that flow state, it's like the audience can feel that. And right now I feel like I'm in that state. I feel like I'm really in tune with the audience right now, and I wish we could get out there. But credit to Ring of Honor, they're putting they're I can't tell you how great they've been with putting our safety first. So, like, for example, they've told us we're not going to get you to do anything you don't want to do. Like, this is down to the talent. What do you want to do? Like, we're getting looked after, but we can provide feedback directly or anonymously if we're not comfortable saying it in front of the group. So they've provided channels for us to give anonymous feedback on what's going on, and it's I just can't tell you how great they've been. It's not only from a business standpoint, but also, like, we had a Zoom call the other day, and we did this thing where we had fans involved, and we did like this ROH fans quiz, and I got to chatting to these four fans who were just Ring of Honor through and through. They knew every detail about Ring of Honor all the way back from like 2002, 2003, and it was awesome just getting to speak to them, and still connecting with the fans. But when went back into the main lobby, it was kind of like there was probably like 1/3 ROH wrestlers and 2/3 fans. It was like this cool quiz that we had going on, but like everybody like sang me happy birthday, and it was funny because it was my birthday on May 1st, and they had like this thing where they had they were all singing along, but because everyone's microphone was on, it was feeding back, and everybody was out of time and all over the place, and it was horrible, but it was fantastic. It was just like, it was so funny. Everybody was laughing, and I just thought, man, like, I'm so lucky to be a part of this team. I'm so lucky to be a part of this team. I love it.
Another interesting part of your relationship with Ring of Honor is you do live in the UK. Like, do you feel like, not that there's a disconnect, but do you feel like that there's a different uh, fan response between the United States and being overseas, where it took a little while longer to have a better response to your parodies and, you know, your character, or do you feel like people, especially in Ring of Honor, like got it right away, especially because of how streaming and social media has grown since you mentioned 2016? You know, you had some really good press with your match with Kurt Angle.
I think it's really dependent on, you know, everybody's different, and it really depends in what sort of circles you're over with. You might be one wrestler that appeals more to this type of fan or that type of fan. I think I would say it took time for me to get fully into my stride and to, you know, just build that confidence that we were talking about. And so it was, I would say it took a bit of time. You know, it did take time, and it's very tough when you're debuting as a good guy, you know, because it's like, I find it tougher personally, but I took that as a challenge, you know. So we've been doing that, but I just felt we got to this point where me and Dalton were just really starting to gel together as a tag team, and we had all these cool moments and moves in our matches, and I was just really enjoying it. And again, I just remember at one time, I think it was Final Battle, and I just hit like this double fallaway slam where I, throw two guys over my head at the same time, and I knit back up, and it was just like, in that moment, I was like, all right, we're meaning business now, you know. And like the thing is, because like I say, Dalton's world champion, so he's been over for years, but I felt like it took me a little while to be right there along with him. You know what I mean? It didn't take too long. Like like I say, I only debuted on the 30th of August, and I felt we were rocking and rolling by December. So, I was really happy with that. I felt we were on a roll as well. We were just about to face the Briscoes, and we were just so motivated to just tear the house down and show that not only are we having fun with the character stuff, but we're going to tear the house down as well.
Now, Ring of Honor canceled all shows through June, I believe. So and that includes Best in the World. So it's still an if, or you're still waiting for when you guys come back. But is there something that you are looking forward to, getting back on TV with Dalton? Is there something that you mentioned just now, like you're really starting to gel? But is there something that you really like want to do, whether it's a match, an opponent, or just some kind of like little interaction with him where you almost had that chance and now you just have to wait to start getting back on the road with him?
I would really love us to face the Briscoes, because I felt in my heart that was going to be another breakout moment, like for the team. Mm-hmm. I just felt like I don't know why, I just had this. I feel like, see, when you build that confidence and you get to that point where you're really feeling it, you're just rocking and rolling. It's like you tend to trust your gut instinct more. My gut was telling me, I was like, we are just going to have a killer weekend. This is going to be amazing. I was feeling fantastic about it. And I was gutted when what happened did. But, like I say, us, not getting to wrestle the opponents we wanted to is a very small thing to be concerned about when there's people who are, whose health is at risk and losing their lives. And we need to maintain that perspective, so I'm just really fortunate to have been treated so well and to be taken care of by the company, so I can really focus on doing this content. And I'm just so hungry to get back. And Dalton he has just a unique charisma, and it's the thing I really enjoy about working with Dalton as well is me and him are so different in every way. Like our senses of humor are completely different styles of humor. And so sometimes he'll just do things in promos and I can't stop laughing, and it's like, there's been a few times where we've actually captured that. There's one where like Dalton is like, I don't know if you've ever seen like the original Tenacious D series, like before the movie.
I remember some of the songs, yeah.
It was on HBO, I think, and basically there's this episode where Jack Black and Kyle Gass have this gig, and they in their mind, it was horrible, but in their mind, they've just smashed it, and they're just like on the sofa, just laughing, saying nothing else, just laughing. And I said to Dalton, I was like, I think we should do a promo like this, where after our match, we're just like congratulating ourselves like this. And he's like, I'll do something, and he's going to do something to make me laugh, and I don't know what's coming. And so we're in the promo, and he just goes, That was it. That was it.
And I'm
For
already
anyone
laughing
listening,
too. So
yeah, for anyone but if you can imagine the way he did it with total
yeah.
confidence, but totally nonchalant as well. I just couldn't stop laughing, and that was the end of the promo, and it had to be the end of the promo. And it's probably my favorite thing we've done as a tag team because it just caught me off guard. So I love it because like his humor catches me off guard, but also he's got a completely. We've both got super different approaches to our wrestling matches as well. So it's been a new way for me to look at wrestling. It's been like a challenge in the best possible way. I just very fortunate to work with somebody of that caliber. But I mean, let's be honest. Look up and down the Ring of Honor roster. It's unbelievable roster. Unbelievable. You're working with world class people every single time.
I'll get you out on this one. I've been doing a feature called the Watchlist where I've been asking anyone that we interview, especially because people were worried about not having wrestling content. That's clearly not the case. But are there any matches that you're going back and watching, whether it's something from your own career, something just have it's caught your eye where you want fans to maybe watch it for the first time or have a new appreciation for it?
Something of mine or something.
Yours or just any match that, caught your eye recently and you think, hey, it's worth checking out.
Oh, see, I'm just gonna come across as terrible now if I pick one of my own.
No, I mean,
I'll pick one of my own.
yeah.
Let me have a wee think. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Um, I'll tell you what. I think when I was doing this Ring of Honor quiz, I couldn't believe like the level of detail that these fans could go into. They knew every title change on every show and all that. Like, I mean, a crazy amount of detail, and it made me realize like just how awesome the fan base are. And it's like you should never take this job for granted. But one thing we did get talking about was the original ROH Pure Championship scene. We that was going to be. I was so looking forward to that. So looking forward to that. I've only ever wrestled one match fully in that style from start to finish, and it was me versus Timothy Thatcher. And literally, it was just a case of, "We'll see you out there." And we went out there and did our thing, and it was like, I'm gutted that I couldn't take part in this tournament and this all happened before that because I really felt like I'm going to get the chance to show something completely different that I know I can do. So yeah, if you want to watch one of mine, check out. I had a match with Timothy Thatcher that was kind of like a pure style match. If you want to see the more recent stuff, like just watch the most recent highlights of myself and Dalton versus Vinny's stable. So that's kind of like for mass stuff. But you just need to go to the Ring of Honor YouTube channel because right now we're just killing it on YouTube because we're uploading all these classic matches, like just the who's who of the Ring of Honor history. Like some of the matches that we're uploading, it's like classic stuff, and it's getting uploaded every single day as well.
Yeah.
So go there, just check out the matches that are uploading. There's so much great content going up there on a daily basis, but all of it is there in its entirety. I'm going to drop an advert on you right now. You brought it on yourself. But check out Honor Club as well because it's all there, and they've been working so hard on that back catalog, and it's an awesome resource if you're a wrestling fan.
Well, hopefully sooner than later, but everybody's safe. We get to see the Pure Championship tournament come back. But in the meantime, Joe Hendry, you've been providing a lot of really great content. And as you said, people can check out some stuff on Ring of Honor YouTube, Honor Club. And I just want to say thank you very much for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.